You know me, always looking for a dime or a quarter or whatever. Any type of money I could get my hands on. You never know where it's hiding. I'm like a treasure hunter. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children over the age of 21, welcome to the Hop Nation USA podcast. We are here for episode 35, and I don't know if you hear it, but I hear it. A familiar voice is back on the show today.
See, now I've got a question here, and this question is specifically for Steve.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, why do we have a guest doing the introduction to the show?
Glorified guest, as I like to call myself.
You go ahead and do that.
I will. I am Sam, the glorified guest. You might remember me from, some of our classic episodes, like episode 32, where we talked about pumpkin beers.
That was episode 31.
That was 31. Episode 31 you might remember me from. Or episode 1, where we started the show. And maybe a few episodes here and there in between.
That's about it.
But hey, being a glorified guest is, better than nothing at all at this point.
It's better than
because that's what I've kind of turned into.
How has those 3 weeks of vacation been?
Oh, they've been fantastic. Spent some time in Scottsdale, tried some Arizona brews, which were very fantastic. I enjoyed that experience.
Now, here's a question for you, and this is a question that we had from last week.
It's not a question. It's a dirty joke you made.
It's not a dirty joke.
Well, no, it's not a dirty joke.
It's just a regular
garbage joke.
It's just a garbage joke. Were there any beers out there that had 99 cents on the can?
What?
Arizona tea.
Arizona tea, Arizona beer.
Oh.
Come on, I'm not throwing two-seam fastballs here.
I gotcha. I don't know if in my lifetime I've ever drank one of those Arizona teas.
What?
Really? I've never been an iced tea guy, especially iced tea that comes from a can. Maybe if it was like a freshly brewed iced tea. I was going to say freshly squeezed, but maybe some freshly squeezed lemon in there.
What about their Arnold Palmers?
Nah, I don't like Arnold Palmers.
How do you not like Arnold Palmers?
I don't like things that are real sugary and sweet.
It's really not, though.
I drink water and beer, that's it. No pop, no iced tea. Sometimes regular tea. I do like green tea if I'm at, a Chinese restaurant or something. I think that's really good because they bring it out in those little pots and, those small cups that, the British drink tea out of.
I like me a good Arnold Palmer because that's a good halfway between water and pop.
I guess some people would think of things that way, yeah.
Because pop, it gets to be too much.
Yeah.
Too sugary.
I usually would just think of fruit juice as the halfway between water and pop.
Well, hey, to each their own. But to answer your question, whether it was a joke or not, no, I did not see any beers that were 99 cents out there. Actually, I take that back.
Uh-huh.
There's you go into a beer store. There's actually one out there called Total Wine, which is like a beer mecca. Actually, it's like a beer, wine, and liquor mecca. It's a giant store. It's comparable to probably the size of some of our smaller Giant Eagles out here, which is a small grocery chain, as we know, but maybe some of the listeners don't.
Wegmans for other parts of the country.
Yeah, Wegmans, H-E-B.
Yeah, H-E-B. That was the
Albertsons,
ones.
If you're out on the west.
Publix.
Publix, if you're down in Florida.
Kroger if you're poor.
But it's like a small grocery store. And it's just filled with as much booze as you could possibly imagine, and you could get a 24-ounce Hurricane or a Natty Ice for 99 cents in those stores.
God damn.
Now it doesn't say 99 cents on the can, but
see, that's the crux of the entire question.
It's the cost. It says it on the price tag.
It needs to say 99 cents and have some vaguely southwestern American design.
Yeah, exactly.
With a dream catcher and some of the
whatever that weird Aztec stuff
the Aztec
geometry, yeah. Yeah, geography. Holy shit.
Geometric design.
That's the one I'm looking for.
I like when there's geography on my bottles. A little map of the world, map of the country. It's like a little history lesson in every beer.
No, wait, wouldn't that be a geography lesson?
Well, yeah, I guess it would be. That's a good point. But I guess geography to some degree is history. So I don't know.
Oh boy.
Let's call it a win all around.
All right, this is getting way too far, and we don't have any beer in us right now.
No, so to get back to the beginning introduction to this episode, I'm the glorified host Sam. I'm back speaking with everybody today.
Hold up. You're not the glorified host.
Glorified guest.
You're the glorified guest.
Glorified host. Look, we're past the guest point. Everybody knows who I am. I've reintroduced myself back on in hosting duties, the glorified host. Hey, what can I say? That's what I'm going to call myself. Glorified guest, glorified host, same thing.
Is he going full Kim Jong-un on us?
I guess so. I don't know. We don't have to recognize it.
And with me today are my glorified co-hosts. How about that? Adam and Steve.
I didn't sign that paperwork. I feel that we're like the South Korea of the situation,
Maybe.
which is fine by me because they got K-pop.
Well, you guys.
And the best internet in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fastest at least. I don't know.
Well, I don't know what the weather's like in South Korea right now, but I know here in Pittsburgh it's pretty damn cold. And, you know, we've been in the 40s primarily all week. So today on the show, we're drinking stouts. Hopefully something that'll warm us up. We'll be able to put on our beer jackets, if you will.
Well, also, it just is International Stout Day yesterday.
Right.
November 2nd.
International Stout Day.
International
I did not
Stout
know
Day.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you got over there for us, Adam? What are we drinking first today?
So the first one comes from one of the biggest breweries that we have here in the U.S. of A., not North Korea. The Sierra Nevada Narwhal. It's an Imperial Stout. This is a heavy hitter. This comes in at 10.2% ABV.
Boy, boy.
Yeah, so we are coming out of the gates hot. The IBUs are somewhat high, but not unpredictable for a stout like this. Comes in at 60 IBUs.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So
I'd say it's pretty high for a stout. I mean, there's some
I've seen
IPAs, some
higher.
pale ales that we've drank, on this show that come in at about the same range, around the 60s.
And a little further information for you hop heads out there. It is brewed using Magnum and Challenger hops. So
That sounds good.
So those are probably right in your wheelhouse, Sam.
Yeah, I was gonna say off to the races.
So I did try to find a little more information about International Stout Day. I thought it was like a big to-do to deal.
To deal?
It really isn't.
Oh.
Apparently the first International Stout Day was celebrated in 2011.
Okay, that's 6 years.
Yeah, so why you think it would be something like longer, like it had something to tie in with Guinness or something?
So I wonder if it was originally part of National Porter Day,
No.
and then it just naturally split off.
No. In fact, every little blurb I read about International Stout Day starts talking about porters. And for those of you who are interested in that little tidbit of history, everything used to be called a porter to begin with until they started making porters up in the 7 and 8% range, and somebody called it, boy, that's a stout porter.
So now it's just stouts.
And now they're just stouts.
So let's talk about this stout, the Narwhal, not Narwhal, by Sierra Nevada. This thing is pretty dark. It
Very
makes
dark.
sense.
Good head retention on it.
It
Looks like a stout.
The head on it is definitely a tan, I would say.
Yeah, it's got a tan head on it. Got a good boozy nose to it, but it's like a little roasty.
It does.
It's not hot like other high ABV beers.
No, but what's interesting about this nose on this beer in particular is that it's not a bourbon barrel aged stout, but I'm almost getting like a slight hint of bourbon nose off of it. Now, that might just be some of the booziness as well, but I mean, it smells good and a little bit bourbony.
So you say that you're getting some roasted and chocolate notes. That would be because of the malts that are involved in this.
Well, I'm sure, yeah.
which do include chocolate and do include a roasted barley.
Yeah.
And there's also some honey in there as well.
Oh.
So sweeten things up a little bit.
Excellent.
All right.
Well,
take a taste then.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm diving in.
Whoa.
You know what's interesting? After one sip, I can taste about all 60 of those IBUs on the back end of this beer. It definitely tastes a little bit hoppier than some of the stouts I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Weird.
They're providing a bitter flavor on the back end, which I don't know if I really like that or not. I feel like the beer is not all that balanced, but maybe that's what they were going for. What do you guys think?
I'm getting more of a boozy finish, not an aftertaste, but a boozy finish to it.
Correct.
So it's a little hot when it finishes, but then the finish does give way to that little bit of bitterness. But it doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like it.
And the hop finish that you're tasting, Sam, is from the Challenger hops that they used as a finishing hop.
Okay.
So they definitely tried to hop it up a little bit with that Challenger.
Excellent. Well, I mean, I could certainly taste them. So good job, Sierra Nevada. You've accomplished your goal, at least with me.
So who wants narwhal facts?
No.
Okay, good, because I don't have any.
Good. No, I was just gonna say it's more of a full. It's a pretty full mouthfeel.
It is. It is definitely malty.
I feel kind of like I'm drinking bread. Like, it doesn't taste like bread. It just has that real thick,
Almost
like
chewy.
Yeah, almost chewy. Mm-hmm. I like it though.
It's kind of almost like a pudding. Mm-hmm. Like a pudding beer pudding.
Yeah. I like it though.
All right, so while we continue to sip on the Narwhal here, we have kind of a unique show for everybody today. We're going to stray off of our beaten path just a little bit, and this show actually is going to present something very accomplished for us, and that is that by segment 3 we are going to be drinking our 100th beer. So this is a good one for me to come back to.
Now, I have to put a caveat on there. That is not the 100th beer total. That is the 100th beer on the show.
Oh, yeah.
We've had more than that in our
Oh, yeah, we've all had
yes.
way more than 100 beers.
That's a great caveat, Adam. The 100th beer we've tried on the show. So that's very exciting, and that's going to be coming for you in segment 3, and it's something big, boozy, and hopefully delicious.
Yeah, we're celebrating all over the place on this episode. 100th beer, International Stout Day. It's a celebration, bitches.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in celebration of all you, our listeners, we wanted to take questions from the listeners through folks that we've talked to, from all of our social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we wanted to answer them on the show today. And this could really be about anything. The show itself, home brewing, beers we've tried, beers we haven't tried, anything that you were curious about. So I'm very excited to just dive into some of these questions and see what our loyal listeners wanted to learn about. So, Adam, why don't you read the first question for us?
So, one thing I wanted to say before we get into this is that we may not be able to get into everybody's question during this episode. So we're going to try to squeeze in as many as we can, but can't make any guarantees. But the good thing with that is we can always answer that down the road.
Yeah,
exactly.
and if you have questions after this episode, send those too, and we'll answer those down the road as well.
Right.
Yeah, we'll do another question show at some point in time, and we'll get to them at that point.
So the first question that we have actually comes from one of our listeners, EJ. He is actually a very dedicated listener, and his question was, the Mother Lager is the worst beer that we have ever tasted on the show.
Reviled.
I think we've made that very clear.
It is double thumbs down.
Yeah. This is how you know EJ listens.
Right. And for our punishment for Eye of the Hurricane is, in fact, a hurricane, a malt liquor.
Right.
His question is, if you had to choose between the two, which one would you actually drink?
If I'm out in the wild.
If you are out in the wild and you have two sat on the bar right in front of you, and you have to choose one, which one are you grabbing? Steve, I will start with you.
So I have two sat in front of me on the bar?
Correct. And they are of equal temperature.
Yeah.
And they are of equal price.
Okay.
Free. I'll throw that out
free.
there. It's free.
No, I'm getting a choice of a free beer.
And you could only drink one. You can't just drink them both because they're both free. And they're sitting in front of you at the bar, chilled.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Hurricane.
Okay.
It doesn't have any pretension about it. It doesn't try to be anything other than just shitty malt liquor. There's no airs about that.
That is very true.
That Mother Lager comes with its, goofy fist in the air, trying to act like, oh, we're the Communist Republic kind of beer, that we're for the people. You're not for the people. You're for the trash. If there are two sitting on the bar, I'm going to see those. You ever see those gifs of those cats where they just start pushing something slowly off a table and then it just drops? That's what's happening with that.
Okay.
I have no interest in that again.
Sam?
All right, so I'm going to take the opposite approach, and if those are both sitting in front of me, I'm going to go with the Mother Lager, because at the end of the day, a hurricane is just what we know it to be, shitty malt liquor. And at the end of the day, I will always choose a craft beer over shitty malt liquor. The Mother Lager is not great, but I'd rather stomach one of those than the Hurricane, because at least it's an attempt at a style of craft beer that Magic Hat has put forth for its drinkers, and they've made an attempt. And although in our opinion it's a failed attempt, I would always encourage someone to go out, try the beer, even if we don't like it, and go for it. So I'm gonna stick with the craft, and I'm going with the Mother Lager.
Interesting. So it seems to be tied 1-1.
Yeah, I'm just a caveat to what I said. To be fair, I would choose some malt liquors over macro beers. So
I've seen you drink OD on multiple occasions.
and you see me drink Steel Reserve on the golf course. So, But Adam, obviously you're the tiebreaker.
I am the tiebreaker.
So which way are you headed?
Am I willing to just walk back out of the bar and just
Nope.
curse whoever put that on the bar in front of me?
Nope.
All right.
I feel like EJ would be very disappointed as a loyal listener if
Probably
that's
would
your
be.
response.
He probably would be.
I gave up.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna punt on this one. No, if I had to choose between the two, and they are of proper temperature, I think I'd have to go with the Hurricane.
You said equal temperature, not proper temperature.
Okay. I guess in my mind they were the same things, but
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Right?
Yeah.
Because
Well, I mean, they could also just both be, 80 degrees.
but I think I would go with the malt liquor. Like you said, it doesn't put any airs on about itself.
Yeah.
And they're both terrible, so I'm gonna have to suffer through both of them.
Right.
Hurricane's got more alcohol in it,
That's true.
so I'm gonna get my free money's worth.
If you gotta drink bad booze, might as well drink the baddest booze that'll get you messed up.
Right.
Oh man, you guys are. I'm surprised you both picked that. I'm not surprised Steve picked that, but I'm kind of surprised you picked that, Adam.
Dude, that mother lager is bad.
Have you? Let me just ask this.
Okay,
And
sure.
your opinion is your opinion. You do what you want. We're all drinking shitty tonight.
Right.
if those are our only options, the mother lager and a Hurricane. But have you ever taken a Hurricane, poured it in a glass, and sipped on it?
No.
No.
Now, would you do that at the bar?
No.
Because for the show, we chug them real
This
quick.
ain't the show. This is the bar.
Right, exactly. So you're just going to chug the Hurricane real quick.
Get it out of the way and go
move
drink
on?
something that I can tolerate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I might sip it out of the can. I'm not putting it in a glass.
Right.
Well, you got to let that Hurricane breathe a little bit.
No, you
There's
don't.
oxygen.
No, you don't. No.
No.
Mask all those flavors in it. Shove it down your throat as fast as you
Exactly.
can.
Keep it as cold as possible.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at this as like a feat of strength kind of thing.
That's what it is.
Do it, get it over with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like Hurricane has won 2-1.
I mean, over Mother Lager,
So-
which is whoop-de-doo.
Right.
That might be the first thing Hurricane's ever won. I hope whoever makes Hurricane is listening to this show.
So here's the nice thing about it. I don't know where to get Mother Lager.
Maybe check put Moon Pop in beer for last.
Knock yourselves out.
All right, let's get to another question.
All right, Sam, go ahead.
All right, so actually, I'm going to read the next question. So this question comes to us from Chris from Cannonsburg. And Chris asks
And just
us,
to clarify that, it's Cannonsburg.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
All right, so Chris from Cannonsburg asks us, are there any beers out there that actually taste like coffee that proclaim themselves to be a coffee beer of some sort, whether that's a stout, blonde, porter, whatever the case may be? Are there any beers that you can get that actually taste like coffee?
Yes.
Great.
Well-
Next question.
I answered.
There you go, Chris. Hopefully you're satisfied with that answer.
Obviously, it sounds like Chris has a problem with picking up coffee beers that don't have enough coffee flavor in them.
Yes.
I'm thinking right off the bat, the Bell's Java.
Okay.
Yeah, that has a lot of strong coffee flavor in it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would almost be hard-pressed to find a coffee beer that didn't taste like coffee versus...
There's a couple. There's a couple I've been less impressed with. Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to recommend for Chris, because maybe I've just been fortunate and I've found a lot of the good ones. So if you're out there in a beer distributor, six-pack shop, and you're looking for a good coffee beer, Chris, here's what I'd recommend. Go for, first and foremost, we've talked about it on the show, Founder's Breakfast Stout. Great coffee beer. Has a lot of coffee notes on the nose. It'll satisfy your palate. Two of the other ones that I like are Trogue's Java Head, and then the Terrapin Wake and Bake is one of my all-time favorites.
So a few more that I'd like to throw in there is the Punkaccino. I know you two are very, very familiar with that one. And additionally, this one is a bit of a hot product this year. The cold press coffee pumpkin.
Yeah.
If you can get it, get it.
Yeah.
It's available in 4-packs, and it is actually, since you're in Pittsburgh, Chris, if you go down to the North Shore Brewery,
It's on tap.
it is on tap. Go get it. Go have yourself a good time.
Yeah, I would agree with both of those. I mean, I guess it's obvious to point out, though, that they're also pumpkin beers.
True. But that's good for this time of year.
It's good for this time of year.
They
But
should be available throughout the first couple weeks of November.
oh yeah, and the cold pressed coffee pumpkin, like the coffee pretty much overpowers the pumpkin part.
Right.
My suggestion would be the Cosmic Ristretto.
No,
By
from
Green
Green
Flash.
Flash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great beer. I've had that one before.
That one's so good. Oh boy,
You ever have that, Adam?
I have not had that one.
that one's really good.
See,
Very
for me,
tasty.
whenever I hear
Big
Green
coffee
Flash,
flavor.
when I hear Green Flash, I automatically think of IPAs.
See, they have a couple beers that you might enjoy maybe that aren't IPA.
Enjoy maybe.
I gotta say maybe, but the Cosmic Ristretto is one of them as a really great coffee beer.
Okay, I'll have to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, there you go. Should have a little coffee, stout, porter, pumpkin starter pack there for you. So go out, find some of these beers, and let us know what you think.
Those are some good coffee porters and stouts and pumpkin beers.
Right.
But we have a somewhat related question coming in from Tyler in Washington.
That's pretty much he's pretty much a neighbor of Chris in Canonsburg.
Pretty much, yeah. Tyler
did a Canonsburg are right down there together.
Yeah.
They're friends.
Maybe they are. I don't know. What does Chris do for a living? Does he do electrician? And
No, not Chris and Tyler. I'm talking about Canonsburg and Washington are friends. The cities. The cities are friends because they're right next to each
Maybe
other.
they are.
It's like Dormont and Mount Lebanon, Moon and Coriopolis.
Sure, I get it. I didn't think you were personifying cities. I just thought you were talking about.
I don't think Chris and Tyler know each other, but hell, maybe they do. I don't know. You never know how people are intermixed throughout life.
I don't know. Maybe they do. I was gonna say because Tyler's an electrician, and I don't know what Chris does.
He's an engineer.
So maybe
Maybe they
meet.
do.
But he asked, are there any coffee beers that are not porters? And he says, I'm assuming yes, but I'm too lazy to do the research. So let me do the research for you, Tyler.
Let me Google that for you.
The very simplest, quick answer for this is if you're in the Pittsburgh area, go to Spoonwood and get yourself the Cold Drip City.
Correct.
That is, again, and this also goes for Chris. Chris can be listening to this answer too.
Well, he should be.
But that is an amazing coffee beer.
It is.
But it's also an ale. It's
Yeah, it's like a coffee blonde ale.
Right.
And it is quite delicious. And I tell you what, my travels around the country, I've actually seen that more and more now, that people are brewing with coffee beans, but they're not doing the typical stouts or porters. I've seen coffee IPAs, I've seen coffee blondes, and it's very interesting to see. And I think that's, one of the most awesome things about homebrewing is it's so experimental that people are taking something that used to be the standard and turning it on its head and using those ingredients in different styles of beer. So that's really neat to see.
I think one of the bigger one I've had, and it's a bigger, more well-known brand, is the Rogue Farms. Mm-hmm. They actually have a cold brew IPA, like Sam was saying.
So for our listeners outside of Pittsburgh, I have a couple other suggestions because fortunately for us, unfortunately for everybody else, Spoonwood is rather Pittsburgh-centric.
Right.
So if you're much outside of the Pittsburgh area, it's going to be quite difficult to get. One I would suggest, especially for our West Coast listeners, is the Ballast Point Calm Before the Storm. That is another cream ale, or a very light style coffee ale. I would recommend that one. And in addition, this one is kind of what similar to what Sam was talking about, where it was kind of an experimental beer, but Victory, as part of their Blackboard series, Blackboard series number 5, they have a coffee cream ale.
I wonder how easy that one would be to get.
The Victory?
Yeah.
For us, pretty easy. I've seen it in the stores before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
I was just wondering if that was like something that was like on tap only.
No. It has made its way across the state, at least to Pittsburgh.
Well, good.
Excellent.
I got 2 more that are probably worth checking out. And this one's for kind of the East Coast people that aren't in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And it also holds kind of a special place in my heart just because of the name. But the 6 Point Brewery out of Brooklyn, they have one that's cream, C.R.E. Cash rules everything around me, Wu-Tang.
Got to diversify your portfolio.
But yes, they have a pale cream ale that's also a coffee stout. And then there was one I found just in my little research that I found just kind of interesting. It's back in Pennsylvania again, but it's a little bit east of State College. There's a town called Danville.
I actually know exactly where that's at.
Yeah, I know where it's at too. It's just something you pass on your way to like Philly or anytime you're leaving State College go east. It's just kind of right there.
So my roommate in college had a girlfriend from Danville.
Oh, well, good for him.
That's the only reason I know it exists.
But
I was gonna say, I've never heard of Danville.
Well, you don't go east enough.
Apparently not, or I just pass it so quickly that I don't that I blink and it's gone.
And that's what I did for the most of the time. But apparently, there is a brewery out there called the Old Forge Brewery. Apparently, they have a beer called the Coffee Kolsch.
Oh, a Kolsch.
So it's a Kolsch that's coffee. So
that's a new twist. I like that.
Interesting.
So if you're, for whatever reason, traveling between State College and Philly,
and you need a beer right now.
Yeah,
Oh, pick me up.
Danville's just such a weird. They have like a big medical center out there in that area, and then
Weird.
yeah, and then it's just like you pass through and it's gone.
I feel like that's a lot of towns east of State College and west of Philadelphia. Kind of like that in between.
Yeah.
They're so small and there's nothing there that you just
pass through.
You pass through so many you can't remember them all.
And that's it. You're just there and it's gone.
Yeah.
So speaking there and gone, this Narwhal
Yeah.
that we're drinking from Sierra Nevada, clocking in at 10.2% alcohol, 60 IBUs, using Challenger hops and Magnum hops.
Yeah, mine's gone. I need a little bit more.
Yeah, his is already gone. Mine's damn near gone, and Sam is right behind me.
Yeah,
So with that, that right there says that this is a pretty good beer.
It is.
It is a rather interesting beer in so much that it is, it's kind of complex.
It is complex, and I like the hoppiness of it. It's weird to find, well, not weird, but it's rare to find a stout with a good hop profile to it.
Right. It's kind of hard to balance that out.
Yeah, most of the time it's just Fuggle or Willamette.
Hey, don't you hate on Fuggle?
I'm not hating on it. We use it all the time in our home brews. I'm just saying.
That's because I demand it.
It's just things you fucking pitch in there to, call it technically beer.
Yeah, I mean this beer is pretty good. One interesting thing in my relationship with Sierra Nevada as a whole, every beer I've ever had from them outside of the Xocoveza has always kind of been a middle of the road beer. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Sierra Nevada beers are beers that I really never buy. On the rare occasion I might try one at a bar, or if we're drinking one on this show or something. And I have to say the Narwhal is probably right there down the middle of the road for me. I will say it does have it has a very complex profile, which I think is good. I don't necessarily love the hop flavor in this one that I'm getting. I think it adds a bitterness to the back end of the beer, but I don't know. Overall, it's not bad. It's drinkable, but for me, it's it's middle of the road, kind of with everything else that I have had from Sierra Nevada. Outside of the Xocoveza, the Cactus Goza, that one I friggin' love. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
And you are entitled to it. For me, I enjoyed this beer. It's good beer. Definitely more on the malty side than on the hoppy side, but you'd pretty much expect that on a stout.
Right.
I understand what you're saying, Steve, by having that kind of boozy finish to it.
Yeah.
It's got that in spades.
It's got that. It's not as hot as like other beers we've had on the show, but it is kind of surprisingly hot for one, only being 10%, and two, as Sam has pointed out, Sierra Nevada is kind of a big brewery,
Right.
with kind of a wide appeal,
Right.
which is probably why he finds a lot of them middle of the road.
Right. They are a large brewery, but they are not a macro brewery by any
No.
stretch of the imagination.
They are craft.
So, bottom line, I like it. I would drink it again.
Yeah, no, I would too. I think this is something for. I mean, if you're just looking for a higher ABV, looking to tackle something a little more challenging, I think this is that. But it's not like going to blow you out of the water because it doesn't have any of those weird, additions like coconut or mint or it's not.
Although you can get that.
You can get that, but
Right.
like this.
But for this particular one.
The basic Narwhal doesn't have a whole bunch of goofy additions or anything. It's just a straight up stout beer.
And I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
I like that it's just there's no gimmicks to it other than the hops. I think the hops is a little bit of a gimmick, but I think that's an interesting gimmick.
And the Narwhal on the label.
Well, that's every craft beer bottle since the history of craft beer.
All kinds of creatures on craft beer bottles these days. So, all right.
I saw one with a dude shitting his pants. There's
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, I see that. The brown note, yep.
Yeah, the brown
Very
note.
memorable when you see that can.
So it works in that way, but it also doesn't work because I don't want to buy that.
Yeah, I
gross.
know. That does seem a little
I
gross.
don't want that. I don't want people seeing me drink that.
So what do you say we take a break? What do you say we get beer number 2 up and running?
Beer number 2 and more questions.
More questions to come. So
And more answers.
Oh, yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah.
beers, questions, and answers. Sounds perfect. Stay tuned. Okay, Hop Nation, we are back, and we are here to answer some more of your burning questions. But before we do that, we got to get a little more beer in our glass, and that beer in particular is going to be a stout. As referenced earlier in the show, we are drinking stouts in honor of National Stout Day, which was on November 2nd. So, Steve, what are we drinking next?
Yes. It was yesterday. And I guess what we're going to be drinking next can also be paired in with what we were celebrating on Wednesday, which was Dia de los Muertos.
Actually, I believe that goes through November 2nd.
Yeah, no, yeah, it does go through November 2nd. So, yeah. So, yeah, it was
The last 2 days.
So also
31st
yesterday.
Yeah, it's 31st to the 2nd.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it pairs nicely. because
With
we're
what
gonna,
is De los de Muertos?
Well, that's the Mexican holiday of the Day of the Dead.
Thank you.
Yes. But
Day of the Dead.
this beer is going to pair nicely with both, as it is the Stone Xocoveza, an Imperial Stout inspired by Mexican hot chocolate.
Nice.
And at the end of last segment, we were talking about how the Narwhal had no gimmicks.
This is all gimmick.
This is all gimmicks. This is a stout brewed with cocoa, coffee, peppers, vanilla, cinnamon, and nutmeg. It
Might be easier to tell everybody what it's not brewed with.
coconut. There's no coconut in it. It comes in at 8.1%, so a little lighter than the last one.
That's not saying much, though.
No, and it also has surprisingly high IBUs with 50. And the hops in that profile would be again the Challenger and the Kent Golding, one of your favorites, Adam.
That's an awful weird way to say fuggle.
I said one of your favorites, not your bay.
If I could get a T-shirt that said just fuggle on it,
Just Fuggle.
I'd wear it.
I'm
I'd
pretty
totally
sure
wear
we
it.
can make it happen.
Let's make that happen.
Okay.
Sure, if you did a quick Google search, you could find that. Just like a Got Fuggle shirt.
I don't want gaunt fuggle. I just want fuggle.
Just Fuggle.
You can just make that.
That might just
You know,
happen.
any screen printers?
I mean, really, you could just go up to Braddock, the Braddock Library.
Uh-huh.
They do screen printing there. You can do it yourself.
Do they really?
Yeah.
So if I had you design just fuggle, we could fire off like 5 or 10 T-shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally do that.
Well then, that's the way we're starting our clothing line here at Hot Nation USA.
It's like, yeah, no, I can totally do it. I just don't do it. I have to have time to edit these episodes and drink these beers.
Wait, didn't you say last week you were Mr. Most Days Off?
Yes.
So, sounds to me like you got time.
Shut up. Shut up and look at your beer.
Look at your beer, nerd.
Speaking of shut up, this beer is dark.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, again, it's very dark. Can't see through it because it's a stout. But this one doesn't have any head retention, unlike the Narwhal.
No, it doesn't.
This one.
Narwhal.
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 The narwhal.
It's a near whale.
It's nearly
Now,
a
this
whale.
was-
It's nearly. Never mind.
Yeah.
Now this one smells like a.
It smells like gimmicks. It
It
smells like all
gimmicks,
gimmicks.
but I was gonna say it smells like a pleasant odor that you would get from your garbage disposal when you just dumped some peppers and all kinds of random shit down there, and it's kind of sitting down there, but it hasn't been ground up and flushed away yet.
I'm just gonna let him keep going.
But I said pleasant, right? So a lot of times that shit smells like shit, right? But this smells kind of pleasant because the point I'm trying to make is that there's
good, there's a point.
There's many flavors in this beer, and you can kind of smell them all. Kind of like when you stick your nose down the garbage disposal to see if you should turn it on or not.
Why couldn't you just say after you've mixed a bunch of things on a cutting board?
I'm building to something. Look, man.
Okay, I'll just keep let you building.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not building anymore. I already explained it.
Oh.
But the point is, when you smell something, you have that muscle memory, and it goes back to where you've smelled something similar, where you've smelled that in particular smell before, and that was what it was for me.
Okay.
That's why I tried to preface it by a pleasant smell, because most smells aren't pleasant that come from a garbage disposal, but this one...
I understand. I've never had this experience then. It's always been in like a cutting board situation where I've cut up a bunch of vegetables and peppers and things like that, and it still has that aroma of all of those mixed together.
Yeah, maybe.
That I get.
But this isn't made with a whole bunch of vegetables. It's made with peppers and like vanilla and cocoa nibs and, I don't know, just a whole bunch of random shit. Like you said, it's gimmicky.
Yeah,
Adam looks confused.
I'm just hoping you guys realize we're not getting paid by the word here. You guys, that took you 800 words to say, it smells nice.
Yeah. It does. It just,
the both of you.
Hey.
it just smells. It smells like peppers, and it smells like it has that chocolatiness to it, and that's all it really needed to be said.
Would you say it smells like cocoa, coffee, peppers, vanilla, cinnamon, and maybe nutmeg?
I'm telling you what I smell. I'm smelling chocolate and peppers. I'm not smelling coffee. I'm not smelling cinnamon.
I'm smelling my garbage disposal, so maybe
Sam
we
is
should
smelling a
just try
garbage
it.
disposal. Adam, what do you smell?
That we're not getting paid by the word. It does. Now I actually have to smell it. I was too busy listening to you.
You've been sitting around judgy, and you ain't
pontificate.
been participating.
I do smell the chili side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the chocolate
Yeah.
that I can smell in that, and that's about all I can smell.
Okay.
And even that was too wordy. That was like 18.
It was also boring. That was a boring description. You just told us what you smelled. You didn't relate it to anything that you smelled in the past. Come
See,
on,
Sam
Adam.
you didn't take us on an adventure through your trash.
Through the
You didn't give us
O factory.
You didn't give us a composting adventure in your story, so
No, enough of this.
I'm just drinking
Let
this.
us drink.
See, that wasn't even a word. You already described how it is.
yeah, good. Yeah.
Very flavorful. Tastes nothing like a garbage disposal. Not that I've ever tried that, but for those that
I
have.
would hope you would never stuck your tongue in a garbage disposal.
No. Yeah, so what I like about this beer is it's complex, yet all the flavors balance out nicely in your mouth.
Yeah.
And kind of just make that nice venture right down your tongue into the back of your, your palate. And I don't know, it tastes good on the way down, leaves a pleasant aftertaste in your mouth. And you can taste many of the flavors that are listed on the bottle. Like I can taste the peppers, the coffee or the chocolate nibs, cacao nibs, and a little bit of the vanilla as well.
I don't get much of the coffee, but I do get some of the cinnamon mixed with the vanilla towards the back end. And I also like the fact that the peppers, they don't overpower.
No, they don't.
It's just kind of, it's not even, I wouldn't even call it spicy. It's just peppery.
And
Yeah, you can taste them, but it's not spicy. This certainly is not a
No.
spicy beer by any means.
Which is kind of weird considering some of the pepper beers that we've had in the past, and we've knocked them for that.
Well, I mean, we've only knocked them because we're looking for them to be pepper beers.
Correct. And I don't believe this is what it is trying to do.
No, definitely not.
No, it's meant to mimic the Mexican treat of Mexican hot chocolate, which is usually just hot chocolate with a little bit of red pepper in it.
Right.
Sometimes you dip a churro in it. It's good.
This is a good one to drink during this segment because it's just a very enjoyable, balanced beer. So let's continue sipping on it, and let's get back to the burning questions that we have from the listeners.
I'm burning.
So what do we got next, gents? What's our next question that we're going to answer here on the show?
Sam, what is your favorite type of garbage disposal? That comes
I don't
from Adam out of Pittsburgh.
GE or Mennington.
I don't think we have enough time to talk about that. There's a lot to consider when purchasing a new garbage disposal. We'll save that for the special garbage disposal episode that we're going to do. I don't know, probably next week.
Is that where we bring back the mother lager?
Yeah.
New podcast coming soon. Maytaggers. All right, Sam. Do you have a question then?
I do have a question. And this question comes to us from Adrian from Columbus, Ohio. So to this I say, yo, Adrian! Here's the answer to your question. I should probably read the question first before I start to answer it. So Adrian's question is, if we were to open up a brewery, what would the brewery be called, and would it have a theme to it? And we'll go around and answer that individually.
Yeah, I don't think we could agree enough.
No, we definitely aren't going to agree on a brewery and a theme and a business proposal.
It's bad enough doing a podcast between the three of us.
Yeah, can't go into business together.
No.
All right, Adam, how about you start this one?
So for me, I've had this in my head for a couple of years now. The name of the brewery would actually be Moonshot Brewing.
Okay.
And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, that is part of my old address. I won't tell you where. The other part is, it's the moonshot. Come on. That is something where you have a very, very lofty goal, and that is your attempt to get there. That is your moonshot.
Yeah.
And to me, that would be a very lofty goal of mine, to be able to open and operate my own brewery.
Okay.
So for that reason, it would be Moonshot Brewing.
And would you open it in Moon?
Nope.
Mars?
See, I can open up a couple. I can have say the bar in Moon.
Yeah.
And I can have the brewing facility in Mars.
And then you should also open another bar in Mars.
Yeah.
Just because Mars would have 2 moons.
Oh,
Hey-o.
I like that.
And then you could start to expand and have different satellite locations for your brewery.
Correct. And obviously, it would be a space themed. I guess that theme is a little strong of a word. It would have space tendencies.
Yeah. People will be really pissed, though, being your affinity for Fuggle, that you would have a space theme bar.
And I wouldn't allow galaxy hops in it whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, I wouldn't come to that bar then. Screw that brewery. Next. I love the Galaxy Hop. It's one of my all-time favorites.
So, Sam, what is your brewery?
That would include Galaxy Hops.
Right. What is your pipe dream?
So I like you, have thought about this before.
Who hasn't?
And the name for this brewery is so good that I don't want to reveal it on the show. This would be called Brewery.
Okay.
A Shrek fan, huh?
And the theme of this brewery is going to be. I'm gonna preface this by saying there's already a lot of breweries out there that do this, but I'm going to piggyback on them because I love the theme so much, and it is going to be dog themed. All right, so all the beers that I create are going to be named after dogs, and kind of similar to a thirsty dog.
Or a flying dog.
Or a flying dog, or, to some degree, maybe even a dogfish head. But they don't really name their beers after dogs, so probably not so much like them. Mostly after Thirsty Dog out of Akron, Ohio. Yeah. Which, you guys actually talked about them on a previous episode.
Two
episodes ago. But the thing that's going to be different about my brewery is that I want to ensure that it's going to be dog friendly, because I want to encourage people to bring their dogs. So the way I'm going to do this is that I actually have been to a bar in Florida one time, and it was actually half bar, half dog park. Right? So there was a bar in the middle, and on the left-hand side, there was a legitimate dog park where people could bring their dogs and the dogs could go play. On the other end was more of a people park where there was cornhole and giant Jenga and giant Connect 4 and all the stuff that you would find at different breweries. But the nice thing was the bar spanned across both areas, so no matter which park you were in, you could drink the beer.
Right.
And encourage people to bring their dogs, or if you didn't want to hang out with dogs all day, you can really just hang out and play some games on your own. So I really, really like that idea because it encourages all sorts of folks to come out, and most importantly, drinking with hounds. And that's what I like. So I want people to bring their dogs. I want it to be a brewery. This was actually a bar. It was called the Dog Bar. It was down in St. Petersburg, Florida. So if you're ever down there and want to check out an amazing place that's very unique, check this out, because there's a legitimate dog park at the bar. But that's what I want to recreate. But I want to do it with beers that I'm brewing that I could serve to patrons. I want to encourage them to come, bring their dogs. Even people that didn't have dogs could go into the dog park and play with the dogs. There was toys, treats, all kinds of things for them to do. And I thought that was really unique. So I want to try to recreate that, but I want to do it as a brewery. So that's what I would do. Long answer to a short question, Adrian, but that's kind of my dream. So we'll see if it ever happens. If not, somebody else can take that dream and make it happen, and I'll just be a very happy patron there with my dog that I don't own.
So Steve, that leaves you.
All right, so mine's a little bit different. than both of yours, and that I would want to open something called the Groggery.
The Groggery.
The Groggery.
Okay.
Would you serve grog there?
Yeah, I would.
Excellent.
And
excellent news.
The way I kind of see the Groggery is I see it as a pirate bar.
Aha. Okay.
So I think both of you guys have been there before, but you've been to the first in State College, right?
Oh, yes.
I don't believe that I have.
Okay, so the first is kind of a walk down into a bar. Like, it's not on the main street level. You walk down in, and then there's just table upon table, kind of like a Hofbrauhaus.
Like a beer hall.
Like,
almost.
yeah,
Okay.
it's more of a beer hall setup, but it's
Scaled down.
It's a lot dingier and a lot. There's not a lot of bright lights in there. It's a
Well,
lot.
if it's underground, I can't imagine
Yeah.
that there would be too much lighting coming into that bar.
Yeah, it's a much darker bar. So, like, I think just something with a lot of low lighting, serving high ABV beers.
And grog.
And grog. And that's the thing. Like, I think there's a lot of recipes that you could, grog is typically meant to be just kind of a water and rum mixture. I think you could experiment a lot. There's rum barrel aged beers out there. I think you could experiment with just having beer and rum mixtures together.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Grog night.
And even, rum and mead, things like that.
Boilermakers.
Yeah, you're essentially serving pirate-themed Boilermakers.
I like that.
Yeah.
I would get tuned up there.
Oh yeah, no, everybody would. That's the point.
You know what's interesting? That's a really, really good idea. I was actually in Montreal, Canada, years ago on a work assignment, and we were at this bar in downtown Montreal, and they did something very similar. It wasn't pirate themed, but they literally had mixtures, and it was their beer and a liquor. So it would be, I don't know, I'm just making this up, a pale ale with a shot or two of tequila in there. And I actually had a beer that was beer and tequila, and it was absolutely terrible. It was one of the worst things I've ever tried. I could barely get through it. But I really like the idea because I feel like there are winning combinations that you could create.
And I'll give you kind of where this stems from. Is there was a series of games in the early 90s called the Monkey Island series.
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
Old computer games.
Well, at one point at the end of the first one, there's a vending machine, and you're supposed to get root beer out because that's what kills ghosts. Because of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Must be a children's game.
I don't even know why you're explaining this. Everybody knows
I know
that.
everybody knows that shit. But the vending machine has grog, diet grog. It has a listing. Yeah,
okay.
it has a very different listing of grogs.
Dr. Grog.
There is a Dr. Grog in there. And I believe, and then the last one's root beer.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be kind of cool to just. It wouldn't be a pirate themed bar, as in like Dirty Dingy Pirates. I'd probably just make it like a Monkey Island bar.
Right. And if you're gonna open that in Pittsburgh, I think you have to make absolutely sure that there are no Pittsburgh Pirates involved.
Yeah,
Yeah, because then it would definitely suck.
although I would have the Bloody Seaman play
There you go.
play the stage.
Don't let Bob Nutting invest in it.
Oh God, no.
Or it's going to be a disaster.
He would only let me like buy Emerald Nelson for the bar.
Yes. No, you have Admiral Nelson, or you have nothing.
You can't invest in an actual.
Yes, no investment. Where can we cut costs at this bar, Stephen? All right, so there you go, Adrian. A couple of our ideas for a brewery. Don't
What
steal
would we
them or
do?
steal them.
Yeah, don't steal them. TM, trademark, all over the place.
Copyrighted right now.
Copyright.
Patent pending.
Who's got the next question? What are we answering next, gentlemen?
All right, well, I got a question for us, and that's coming from Nikki from Coriopolis. And this is going to kind of delve into our more, this is sticking with kind of our imaginary thoughts and hopes and dreams. But her question is, what ingredients for beer or kinds of beers would you guys like to brew? So, like, we're all home brewers and we all have our histories, but what haven't we got to yet?
For me, I'll jump right in.
Okay.
What I haven't gotten into, and I am actually very, very close to going down this path, barrel aging. Mm-hmm. I am just about to go down that path.
Okay.
With some rum barrels.
Ooh.
And I'm going to start experimenting with some rum barrel aged beers.
Hey, don't be stealing the groggery. I just told you no.
And I'm going to call it Monkey Island.
Don't you call it Monkey Island.
Are you getting them from Maggie's?
I'm not going to tell you where.
Okay.
Heavenly Hills?
Heaven Hill.
Heavenly Hill.
Oh, Heavenly Hills.
That's where a lot of people get their barrels from. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Are you getting barrels from there?
I'm not going to tell you where I'm getting it from.
Go fuck yourself then. Sam, what do you answer?
Yeah, since Adam the secret pirate will not tell us anything beyond what he just shared, and especially where he's getting his barrels from.
Don't tell me Metallica where I am.
Here's what I'm doing next, and I haven't brewed in a little while. Me and my buddy have actually been experimenting with wine as of late, and I'm not going to get into that. But one thing that I really want to do, it's one of my favorite styles of beers that we have yet to do, and it's making its way down from New England and starting to spread rapidly across the country, and that is unfiltered IPAs. So that's what I'm going for next. I don't know if I'm actually going to flavor it. I might just want a standard IPA. I'm not even sure what kind of hops I'm going to put in there yet. Probably some Galaxy, maybe some Citra. But I just want a really good, really hazy, really flavorful, unfiltered beer. So I know that's not a very exciting answer, but that's what I'm going to do next, because it's something that I'm starting to see more breweries do, and I want to get around to experimenting with unfiltered beers. There you go. That's what I'm doing next.
Yeah, I mean, those New England style IPAs are kind of all the rage right now. I, though, want to invent the Pittsburgh style IPA. And that's
okay.
And
Please tell me.
Now this is going to be interesting.
It's just going to be an IPA with French fries
Yes.
on it.
Oh my God! I wish I could remember the brewery, but I just saw it. Somebody posted a photo of Instagram, and it was of an open brew kettle, and someone had French fries in the mash.
Oh, I saw that too.
I can't remember what
it
brewery
wasn't just
it was.
French fries though. It was
It was like a whole McDonald's value meal.
Yeah, it was like hamburgers and chicken nuggets. It was disgusting.
It looked horrendous.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you want to do that? I mean, I'd go with French fries, but why are you adding chicken nuggets?
Gone too
Is that
far.
even real chicken?
We've gone too far.
Science gone too far.
Turn back. You didn't stop to ask if you should.
So would you brew with French fries to try to achieve some of that flavor? Or are you just gonna throw French fries in the freaking beer?
No, that was a joke. I'm not ever doing that.
Oh, come on, man! That's Pittsburgh right there for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
we put fries on everything here.
I just had a.
I can't believe nobody's thought of that yet. To tell you the truth,
I know. It's kind of surprising that it actually hasn't happened yet.
So if you're going to do that, you're going to have to brew a Charlie Batch. Mm-hmm. You can call it your Charlie Patch of beer.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. No, your Potato Patch of beer.
Oh my God.
I like that one better. And if you can get some of those potato patch fries, I mean, those. If you're gonna have fries in your beer, those are the fries. The potato
That is
patch
true.
fries from Kennywood.
That is true.
Okay, I'll think about it. It's not happening.
That was a quick process.
Yep, I thought about it. No.
Not going to happen.
I'm just gonna start making my own beer by taking beer that other people have brewed, national beers, and just combining them with different type of liquors and spirits and ingredients, and I'm just gonna call them my own.
I call it Bud Whiskey.
I'm gonna literally just take that bottle, put it in a bottling bucket with all my ingredients, and bottle it and call it my own. It's gonna be awesome.
All right. I want in on this, but we have to make sure that we call it Sam Adams.
I like where your head's at, man. You're
Smart.
always thinking.
You guys won't get sued at all, ever.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Sam Adams Bud Whiskey.
I was gonna call it Xocoveza Narwhal. Just mix all these beers together.
It's our beer Garita. We take a Bud Light Lime Garita and we stick it in an actual margarita.
I think that's probably already been done.
I'm sure it has, because somebody doesn't have enough sugar in their diet or booze. How about we get back to the Xocoveza and our celebration of 100 beers and Dia de los Muertos and International Stout Day.
So this is 99 bottles right here.
Yes, this is 99.
99 bottles. The Xocoveza, the Imperial Stout, inspired by Mexican hot chocolate.
Yes.
It's good.
It is. It's probably one of my favorite Mexican chocolate stouts.
Same here.
I actually like the one I brew better, but
Same here.
yeah. Mine's more rich and thick, but you can't prove that.
Well, to you and me, you can't.
Well, yeah,
But not
no,
to the audience at large.
Yeah, no, the audience. I'm sorry, it's gone. It's been gone.
Suckers. Sam, what are your thoughts on this beer?
Great. That's it.
That's
Great
it?
beer. No, I mean it's good. It's it's balanced. You're really tasting, the peppers, the vanilla, and the more I drank it and it warmed up a little bit, I was getting more of that cinnamon. Mm-hmm. It kind of had that nice tingly flavor in the back of your throat when the cinnamon hits, and
just a little bit at the end.
Yeah, then it dissipated and it was good. It's interesting. When I was out in Arizona in Scottsdale, I had a beer. It was called the Dulce Noche.
Okay.
And I'm drawing a blank on the brewery right now, but it doesn't matter. It was brewed with Mexican vanilla bean.
Ooh.
And it was delightful. So, if you ever find yourself out in the Southwest, Dulce Noche.
Dulce Noche.
I think it was actually much better than this beer at hand. But that's not to take away from this beer. This beer is very good, very balanced, very flavorful.
I'm actually going to correct you. It is the Noche Dulce.
Did I say it wrong?
Yeah. Actually, by the good people of Borderlands Brewing Company.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the brewery. Noche Dulce.
Oh.
Night milk? Noche.
Night milk.
No.
Night vanilla?
Leche is milk.
Arch enemy of the day milk.
What's Dulce?
I believe Dulce is it's either cream or caramel.
Night cream? Makes sense, I guess. Night cream?
Yeah.
I'm 13 years old again.
we used to just call those nocturnal emissions.
Well, on that note, what do you say we take a break?
Yes. Let's take a break and come back with more questions and answers.
More questions. And the 100th beer.
And
Let's
the
not
100th
forget
beer.
about this. That's a
That's the
big
important
deal.
part.
We don't want to downplay that because it's a friggin' good one from one of our good friends at JR's Beer Warehouse.
Yeah.
So stay tuned to see what it is. Well, Hob Nation, we have returned, as you knew we would, and it is time. It is time for the 100th beer that we are going to be drinking on this show. And I can barely contain my excitement right now because we do have a really good one for you. We actually just we pulled some of those confetti sprayers, and there's confetti all over our equipment right now, and whatever. We don't even care because we're so excited about this beer. So we have to give one more shout out. This beer was specifically given to us by Matt from JR's Beer Warehouse.
And where is JR's Beer Warehouse?
In sunny Rochester, PA.
Yes,
Rochester, PA, one of the premier destinations for craft beer, brewing equipment, snacks, paper products, everything you could imagine.
Yeah, they really have
at JR's
Yeah.
Beer Warehouse. And Matt is awesome, so if you're down there, say hello. He'll definitely drop some great beer knowledge on you and help you pick out something really good.
Yeah, check out their crowler system. Holy hell, I love that thing.
I know.
Yeah, the crowler system is amazing, and you can get some really good deals on those crowlers as well.
Yeah.
So he hooked us up with this beer, and it is from Avery Brewing, which I don't even know if we've had anything at this point from Avery on the show.
Oh, we totally have.
Oh, really? What do we have?
Remember when
we had the White Rascal. The White Rascal, yeah, that's right.
It's all yeah.
All right, so we're going back to Avery already from Boulder, Colorado, and this is one of their special annual barrel series beers. It is called the Uncle Jacob Stout, and it is a stout aged in bourbon barrels. So one of the interesting things that I have to call out, and I didn't know this, but I read it on the side of the bottle that I think is really interesting, that Jacob Spears, the person that this beer was named after, was the 6th great uncle of the founders of this brewery. And what's interesting about Jacob Spears is he was the first distiller in Kentucky to label his product as bourbon.
Oh.
So he was the first person to call whiskey bourbon and kind of set the stage for what it is today. And, as we know from our episodes of past, that bourbon is made with 51% corn and must be made within the United States.
That's true. So that makes a lot of sense then that this is a bourbon barrel aged beer.
Right. So what are the details on this beer? Let's hear some numbers. Throw some numbers at me.
The ABV on this guy is 14.9%. So it is a big dog.
That's a good thing we saved this one for last.
I don't have any information, unfortunately, on the IBUs themselves, but I would imagine they would be pretty low. I don't think we're going to be tasting much hop flavor in this beer, Adam.
I'm okay with that.
Now, what's good about this beer is it's a rare beer. You can certainly find it around Pittsburgh as well as other places. It is distributed, but it's a high-end beer. It's gonna cost you a couple bucks to get this, and by a couple bucks I mean for a 12-ounce bottle, over 10 at least.
I can tell that just by looking at it because it has a gold foil covering the cap.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a nice one. So you'll be able to see a picture of the bottle on social media, and we should probably actually take a picture of this beer real
take a
quick.
pristine one before we ruin it.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to take a pristine picture of this beer. So if you check out our social media accounts, in particular Instagram, you'll see a nice selfie of me with this bottle, just cheesing it because I am so happy to be about ready to consume this beer. So
good.
Check that out. But yeah, I think we should just get into it. It says to serve this beer between 45 and 55 degrees, and we have now chilled it to the perfect temperature. So what do you say we dive in? No need to continue to mess around here.
Yeah,
let's just start drinking. This is our 100th. This is a big one, guys.
This is a big one.
Even you two got to be excited for this.
No, I'm totally excited for this.
No, this is a milestone.
This is it's a milestone beer, and B, this beer is like something I've never had before, and obviously it's a high-end B, so I want it.
Right.
This is new for all of us. I don't think any of us have had this beer before.
Probably not. Again, it's not necessarily that it's rare, but it is hard to come across, and it has that price tag.
Yeah.
Because we are cheap.
Not that we're cheap. I mean,
Not that we're cheap,
$13 for a 12-ounce beer. I mean, God, you can get.
It needs to be an occasion, and this is an occasion.
It belongs in a museum.
No.
You can get an entire case of Hurricane for less than that.
That's true.
That is true.
So, I mean, when you think about that and put it in perspective.
Although, to be fair, I think you can get an entire case of Hurricane for less than the price of a bottle of pumpkin. So.
Yeah, you probably can.
I'd still get the pumpkin.
Yeah. Well, a case of Hurricane's like $6.75, so a bomber of Warlock or Pumpkin is going to run you $8.99.
I'll go Warlock.
Just saying. That's how it go.
Let's talk about the beer that we have in front of us.
Yes.
The Avery Uncle Jacob's Stout.
This is probably the darkest beer that we've had tonight.
Oh, this is dark.
And that's saying something in a class of stouts.
Right. This is opaque. This is the abyss. You can't see shit through this.
No. The one thing I'm kind of surprised at is the head is a little bit lighter than I expected.
It is, and if you tilt the glass a little bit, one of the things that I've always noticed, and I don't know if this is just my eyes at this age because I just had a birthday and now I'm older, but between the head and the beer itself, bourbon barrel stouts always seem to give off
Night milk.
a nice reddish hue.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a reddish hue around the edge when you do tilt the glass, like you just said.
So let's smell it.
Holy shit.
That's hot.
Holy shit.
All right, now the Narwhal has nothing on this. If you remember my comment from earlier about how I smelled the bourbon, I don't smell the bourbon in that anymore. No, I smell the bourbon in this.
Compared to this one, this is coming in hot.
Shit, this smells like a glass of bourbon almost.
Yeah.
I can smell more bourbon in here than I can any of the flavors of the beer.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining. I love bourbon and I love beer, so.
Well, what do you say we stop yakking?
Yes.
And try number 100.
Number
Guys,
100.
Cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen. Small sips.
Oh, wow.
Hot diggity damn. Matt from JR's has delivered. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that, because holy shit.
That's good.
I am smiling from ear to ear right now with how good that beer is.
Like a butcher's dog.
I'm sorry, I'm being a little quiet for a second. I'm trying to enjoy it a little bit more. There's a lot going on there.
I thought you were just having a moment.
Well, I was having a moment, but I mean, I think Sam needs to take another sip and just kind of be quiet through it and just have a quiet moment with
Say
it.
we have 10 seconds of quiet time?
Well, no, we don't need 10 seconds.
you can talk.
No,
I will
I'm
take a
good.
sip.
I'm good. I can talk about this, but
Okay.
I think Sam needs to give this a quiet time sip because I just kind of let it linger in my mouth and just kind of swirl around, and the more you just kind of let this one sit, it has a wave of flavor that just keeps hitting you over and over again. It just kind
Amber
of
waves of gray.
You're not being quiet.
I just had another sip and I
know,
I can't.
But I'm saying
can't stop talking about
You have to enjoy it. It just kind of laps over your tongue like a wave of like, here's some bourbon, a little bit of stout. Here's some bourbon, a little bit of stout.
Bask in it.
Exactly. Yeah, this is one you have to bask in. This is definitely little sips. This is a little sip enjoyer. You just sit by a fire,
Yeah.
read Chaucer, maybe. I don't know.
Chaucer.
Chaucer.
I was gonna stick with Michael Crichton myself.
I'm gonna find out. Do the monkeys pick up the laser or not?
I guess I'll go with Grisham then.
John Grisham?
No, Frank.
The lesser known Grisham.
We're talking
Yeah, the
about
lesser
reading.
known Grisham.
Adam, start talking before I do, because I'm
tried to
about
do that.
to. I can't keep this in as I continue to cut you off.
I was gonna say, start talking so I can stop, and then you cut me off.
I can stop.
This is a damn fine beer. That's all there is to it. It's just good. Period. I feel that I can't give it justice in trying to
Should have sent
describe
a poet.
No, I think that's New Holland that does that.
Oh, God.
Actually. No, this is a really good beer, and I don't believe I can give it justice by trying to describe it. If you have any sense of enjoying bourbon-aged beers, get this one.
If you have any sense of enjoying bourbon, to begin with, yeah, just get it. Like,
Yeah.
it has all the characteristics of a good bourbon, but it's just, a little bit lighter, a little bit thicker. It still has that thick mouthfeel of a bourbon, and that's just what coats your tongue with
It's just good.
fantastic flavor.
Yeah. So we can talk about this beer all night, but we still got more questions we got to get to.
We do.
True story.
Let's get back to the listeners. Let's stop making this all about us and our 100th beer. Let's go to the people that have made this all possible.
Well, that was us. We made it possible.
Well, we made it possible by giving them a show to ask questions to, but we will answer their questions.
But if we didn't have an audience, then we no longer have a show.
It's an interplay.
Right.
We started the show, and then we got listeners, and then our listeners asked us questions, so we need each other. So now let's give back to the listeners.
What's the question? What's our first question of this segment?
Okay, so our next question kind of tails on to last segment's homebrewing question, but this one's coming from my buddy Bobby Mack up at Butler. Works out of the Empire Tattoo Shop, I believe.
I believe you are correct.
Yeah, I believe I'm correct on that one. Sorry,
He's your buddy. You should know.
This beer's got me in a way. So Bob wants to know, what's a good brand for a brewing kit? I already have the equipment, and I just need to find like a good porter or stout kit. So do we have any suggestions as far as just like a kit? He's saying he kind of goes, every place he goes just kind of peddles the most expensive one, and he's looking for something that's not so expensive, just something easy for him to get into.
I mean, for me, I can answer that question because I've, purchased many kits in my home brewing time. But yeah, what I've generally found is for all the brew stores that I've been to, is in my home brewing experience, I mean, a kit's going to run you between $40 and $60, and that's going to produce, 2 cases of beer. So, looking between $20 and $30 a case. So at the end of the day, it's not that bad because you have to pay for the ingredients. What I've used in the past that I've really enjoyed are the Brewer's Best kits. I think they're affordable. And what I always like to do is they always give you a nice base recipe. They give you all the ingredients in the right quantities, and then I take that and I tailor it to my liking. So if there's hops in there that I don't want, I'll just purchase other hops. If there's grains in there that I don't want, I'll purchase in particular grains and kind of start with the kit and then go from there. I haven't got into all grain like you guys, but at the end of the day, Brewer's Best has always worked well for me. I thought it was affordable, and at the end of the day, when you factor it down, to a case level or to a beer level, I mean, you're really only looking at $20 to $30 for a craft beer or per case from a craft beer kit, and that's pretty comparable or less than what you'd pay in a beer distributor. So I'd say go with Brewer's Best. What about you guys?
I'd probably agree with that. I think maybe the problem Bob's running into is there's a lot of name branded kits out there that are telling like from Goose Island and from I think Stone has a couple out there.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but they're not much more than a Brewer's Best kit. Mm-hmm. It's just they have the name and the recipe of those. So yeah, I would agree. Go with Brewer's Best, or just maybe go online, and there might be some kits that you can find on there.
I know that northernbrewer.com has a lot of kits available.
Yeah.
And
I've ordered. Oh, sorry.
I know that I've used them a couple times. Steve, you've used them a couple times.
Yeah.
And they worked quite well.
Yeah, and I honestly would suggest trying to maybe put together a recipe that isn't a kit. That might be cheaper for you to just buy. I mean, you can still buy the liquid extract,
Right.
And that's usually pretty cheap, around $6 to $7, I think, per can.
That was actually the other thing I was going to suggest is see what it would take, do a little research, what it would take to create a stout or porter recipe, and just assemble the ingredients yourself.
Yeah, I'll see about getting you a recipe there, Bob, of just like something that you can put together yourself without having to buy all of those, without having to buy a kit, but essentially getting everything that you would get in a kit.
Can we say that is a Hop Nation USA custom tailored kit?
No, because I think somebody will get mad at us.
Yeah.
Damn it.
We're not actually going to put that together and sell it.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
It's just some good advice.
I mean, in the future, maybe we can start selling our recipes, but...
Let's put a pin in that one.
Yeah, put a pin in that one.
So we'll get back to Bob on that one in particular. Steve will, and hopefully we can find you something that'll help you
fit your price point.
Yeah, fit your price point, and get off on the right foot for homebrewing.
So let's go into a slightly different direction. Bob, good question, and you got more help on the way. Trust me. But we have another question. This actually comes from John in Rhode Island.
Oh.
Yes. The biggest little state in the union.
We have listeners in Rhode Island?
Rhode Island.
We have listeners everywhere except for, I think, Kansas?
Actually, I think there's another one. Wyoming. No, we have one in Wyoming.
Yeah.
No, we have a listener in Wyoming.
Topeka represent.
Possibly, yes. But they really don't care about the beer.
Okay.
They enjoy the show.
Excellent.
And John's question was, why did you start this podcast? What was the deciding factor? What drove you guys to say, you know what? We need to have a podcast, and it needs to be a podcast about beer.
I was bored. Honestly, this is the one that I did with them. If I have more time, I'll do other podcasts as well. Without them. Sorry.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Just the other ideas don't suit your guys' needs.
That is true. There are certain topics that I can't keep up with that you can definitely excel in.
If you want to, start your own car podcast, you go right ahead. I'm not going to be on that, though.
I'll have you on as a guest.
Yeah, so I can just stare at the microphone and not...
I'm all right with that.
I feel like that podcast might be a little advanced for even you, especially me. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Adam knows way more about cars than I do. I just sit there and be like, I like Dodge Vipers. They go fast.
There's nothing wrong with a Dodge Viper.
One time I replaced my turn signal.
Podcast. Come on.
I'm just saying that's,
Yeah,
I was born out of boredom, and that's what I did.
Now, for me, I craft beer has always been one of my hobbies, and it has been for pretty much the last decade. And I thought it would be fun to, really find an outlet for spreading some of this knowledge while at the same time, edutain, as we like to call it. Plus, I really like to talk, so this is a good outlet for me to do that and just randomly bullshit about, something that I really enjoy. But at the end of the day, it gives us also an opportunity to try new beers, to, get outside of our comfort zone, especially you, Adam, in the IPA realm, and it forces us to try beers that we may not otherwise try, and then we get to review them and talk about them and, spread the word for other folks out there that are looking to get into homebrewing or into beer in general, because when you think about it, the intricacies of craft beer, it is really expanded, and it is now this gigantic web of stuff, and if you don't have the right guides, you might get stuck in it.
That's true.
So that is very true.
We really want to be those guides to navigate our listeners through the web of craft beer. So that's why I want to do it.
We don't want to gatekeep craft beer from everybody. We want everybody to enjoy it.
Yeah, and we want to help them navigate, through the dark, spooky, haunted woods of craft beer.
We are the beacon.
We are the beacon of light
through the terrifying sink compactor. Okay, Adam. So, how about what drew you to podcasting?
What drew me to podcasting was actually you guys. I kind of hoarded myself into a conversation that you guys were having about possibly putting together a podcast on craft beer, and I immediately said, "Hey, I want in on this." Because as you guys know, I enjoy craft beer myself. I'm a home brewer. Mm-hmm. I like drinking beer. I like making beer. I like talking about beer. Mm-hmm. And I know that on multiple occasions, whenever we've started talking about beer, just in tailgates and general conversation, general groups, that we've actually had people pull away from their conversation and join into our conversation, just saying, "No, your conversation's way better. We're going to listen to you guys instead."
Yeah, because it's usually more spirited and argumentative.
Exactly, right. It's a very lively conversation. I like to think we have a good, lively conversation here on the show.
Mm-hmm. Every week.
So, well, we do. You don't.
No, I don't. But, when I'm here as the glorified host,
That's right.
I like to think that the conversation is extra lively.
Kim Jong-sam.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Photoshop. That might happen. But yes, it does get extra lively when you're here, Sam.
Right, it does. That is a true blue fact. So, based on all of those factors, it just seemed like a natural progression for us to do it as a podcast. To share our knowledge, share our conversation with the world.
Yeah, if we're going to spend all this time arguing, somebody else might as well hear it.
Right, exactly. So here we are.
If we're going to spend all this time arguing about why sours suck and IPAs are great.
Somebody else better listen.
And stouts are the best. Might as well listen to that instead of somebody going on and on about their shitty work environment and then they had cake in the break room, but I didn't get any cake because nobody told me, and then I had to go back to my desk, and then
Stop. This is supposed to be fun.
I'm just saying.
I don't need that.
Yeah, you've really brought this segment down a little. Jeez.
That's just a little example. That's a little example of what happens in the real world.
Ugh.
You don't need any of that. You need this.
You need us.
That doesn't happen with beer.
That doesn't happen with beer.
Nobody is ever that bored.
That doesn't happen with this beer. Holy shit.
So I would like to thank all of our listeners for sending in their questions via email, word of mouth, Twitter. Not so much Instagram.
Facebook Messenger. Yeah.
Facebook Messenger as
I don't know what use Instagram is, actually.
Well, it's just for pictures.
I know.
To show people what you're drinking.
Well, that's why I'm not on there, and that's why you're on there.
Right.
I take pictures.
I know. You take pictures. I don't.
So thank you.
Yeah, but thanks. Yeah, but thanks anyway for getting in touch with us and asking your very important craft beer and podcasting questions.
Right. So I think we might have to do this again. Perhaps beer 200.
200.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll have to do this on beer 200.
I think it's a good idea to get more of this Bourbon Bear Uncle Jacob.
Oh, man.
So that brings us to the next question. You guys like this beer?
Yeah. A little bit too much.
Easy. That was good.
Yeah.
All right. Should we go straight to the podium?
Yeah, let's go right to the podium.
Yeah.
This beer is getting me in a way.
So-
I'm going to have to go sleep.
I know. So, Steve, what is your bronze? What is your silver? What is your gold for tonight? Episode 34?
35.
35?
God damn it.
Episode 35 with beer number 100 on its list. What is your ranking?
So I just want to preface first, if you try to do the math and you did 3 times 35, which would give you 105, and you think that we're way past 100, we're not. Because you have to remember, we did a meat episode, and then we also did a jelly episode, which only had 1 beer.
Boom.
So we're on right.
Boom.
But my bronze for the evening is going to be the Stone Xocoveza. It's a really complex beer, and it has a really good flavor profile and everything. But it is just a little gimmicky and a little thin. It's a little thin for a stout. I like it a whole bunch. I mean, I bought a 6-pack of it. I like it a whole lot, but it's just not as good as the other two. The Narwhal, I'm going to put in silver. I think that's a really, really good representation of what a stout can be, and maybe what a stout should be. Like we said at the beginning of the episode, stouts are meant to be stouter porters. They're supposed to be stronger versions of porters. They're supposed to be high in ABV. And that's what this is. It's a high ABV porter. It's got that high grain bill. It's got all those sugars in there, and it comes out with this roasted barley and chocolate, flavoring. It's really good. And then it has that very interesting hop back end that I like a lot. And so in gold, I'm putting this Avery Uncle Jacob's Bourbon Barrel Stout. This is just way too good. Like, this is dessert upon dessert, and it's nothing but a fantastic sipping beer. I'd love to get just a 6-pack of it and see how long it lasts.
Or how long you last.
Well, one or the other. But yeah, you want to hunker down for the winter. This is definitely a good beer to do that with. Just those waves of bourbon flavor going over your tongue. It's not as hot as I thought it was going to be. despite the boozy smell. This is kind of like the zombie bed was last week, where it had that, big boozy nose, but it's a lot smoother drinking. And it's so good because of it.
When I was in JR's Beer Warehouse actually getting this beer, they do sell 6-packs of it. $72 a 6-pack.
I mean, I said I would like to get a 6-pack. I didn't say I could afford it.
I would have to seriously consider it. I really would.
Okay.
Tax season is just around the corner.
One of you two needs to do a damn podium.
All right, I'll go next. Mine's going to be very simple, right? The podium goes in the order that we drank this beer. In bronze, definitely going with the Narwhal. The beer was decent. Like every other Sierra Nevada beer I've had, it's very middle of the road, in my opinion. It was a good beer. I did enjoy it, but I didn't love it. I thought the hoppy, bitter back end was a little bit unpredictable, is the word I want to use for a stout, and I didn't really like that. When I want the smooth back end, I want the nice flavor, that creaminess to linger in my mouth when I'm done with every sip of the stout. So for me, that's in third place. The Xocoveza is in second place. I really like the complex flavor profile of this beer. I like the vanilla, I like the cinnamon, I like the nutmeg, I like the coffee, I like the peppers. I thought it blended very nicely together. I know we said multiple times it was kind of gimmicky, but gimmicks aren't all bad, especially if the beer comes out good at the end of the day. So really enjoyed that, and that's definitely going to take the silver. The Uncle Jacob's is far and away going to take the gold. This isn't even in the same class as those other two beers. I would put this beer up there with the likes of the Kentucky Bourbon Stout, the Goose Island,
the Abyss by Deschutes.
Yeah, the Abyss by Deschutes, the Goose Island Bourbon County Stout.
Yeah.
It was just great. I can't say it's better or worse than any of those beers. I would really need to compare them side by side to make that type of comparison. But in terms of the Xocoveza and the Narwhal, this is in a league of its own. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It's worth a $13 price tag for a 12-ounce bottle just to try this.
Okay, Adam, you're up.
Sierra Nevada.
Uh-huh.
Stone.
Okay.
Avery.
Okay.
Copycat.
Thanks for your in-depth analysis.
I think we've pretty much said all that needs to be said. We don't need to drag it out.
And the reason that I'm being so short with it is with the Stone and the Sierra Nevada. Those are very good beers.
Right.
They're very good in their style as well. I like the fact that they're both within that style window, but they both still tell very different stories.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, for them, this Avery is blowing them out of the water.
Yeah.
No bones about it. I mean,
those stories are, if you give a mouse a cookie, and the Avery story is, War and Peace or...
Exactly. I mean, the other two beers are essentially, Piper Cubs versus an SR-71. I'm sorry, you don't have a chance.
Yeah,
you don't have a chance. And that's not a knock on the other two beers.
No.
It's just that this one is way better.
Well, and again, like we keep mentioning the price tag and everything, but this is an occasion beer.
Correct.
That's why partly it's so far ahead of the other ones.
It wasn't a fair fight to begin with.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
No, absolutely not. And the other two are ones that you should absolutely be drinking just on a regular daily
basis.
Yeah, those are regular basis beers.
Yep.
This is your birthday or your 100th beer episode.
Hooray!
But yeah. Completely agree.
Yep. So thank you again to Matt at JR's Beer Warehouse. I know we've said that a couple times, but I mean to give us this and ask us to review it on the show, and especially at such a monumental occasion as our 100th beer. I think that's really nice of them, and we'll be back at JR's in no time, and hopefully you will be too. It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Check them out.
Yep.
Speaking of checking them out.
Yes. Check us out.
Check us out.
Check us
out.
All of us out. Check out my selfie with this beer on Instagram.
And how do they find that, Sam? I have the answer.
Yes. Why don't you answer your own question, Steve?
I know. I guess somebody else should have set me up for that, but...
Whatever. Sometimes you just got to set yourself up.
I know. But if you want to find Sam's selfie with the Avery, Uncle Jacob's Bourbon Barrel Stout, you just have to search Hop Nation USA on Instagram, and you'll find him there. And you can find us on Twitter and Facebook by doing the exact same thing. And if you want to find brand new episodes of the Hop Nation USA podcast, you can search iTunes and Stitcher and Podbean and Google Music Play. And you'll find us on all of those platforms. Subscribe and leave reviews. 5 stars is the correct answer, so we can get a bigger show to service more people and then get more questions to answer. How about that?
Smart.
Yeah, and thank you again to the listeners out there who did submit questions for the show. Really
Right.
appreciate you taking the time to listen and, ask us about the show and home brewing and beers in general. Hopefully you learned something from this show. We'll do it again in the future. And I just want to thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, and if anybody has the time, go to the Hop Nation USA website at hopnationusa.com. You can find all kinds of reviews and features that are things that you won't find on the show.
For free.
For free. Yeah, it's all for free.
$0 American dollars.
Yeah.
Yes, free is the best. They can't find beer, though, on the Hop Nation USA website,
Find
unfortunately.
pictures of beer.
You can find
Pictures of
pictures of
beer,
beer. Yeah.
beer reviews, but when you need
Beer recipes.
beer recipes,
Yeah.
you gotta go out and buy the beer yourself. That's okay, though.
Yeah, find your own beer.
Find your own damn beer.
Find your own damn beer.
So that's it, guys. 35th episode in the books.
100 beers.
100 beers in the books.
Yes.
And the nice thing is we're not slowing down. We'll be right back at you next week for some more fun. We're going to drink 101, 102, and 103, and we'll see how they compare to the first 100. So stay tuned for more, and happy drinking, everybody.